New Jersey communities need to work with multiple professionals, multiple organizations to effectively and successfully build green infrastructure that protects and enhances the quality of our environment as well as the quality of life for our citizens. Where do we go from here? Some of these may be a little bit redundant from what we've already heard today, but hopefully if all three of us say the same thing, maybe it'll stick. And maybe all three of us are also saying the right thing. That's just one of the things I want to hopefully get out of here today. So let's go from here quickly. 7 items. I can do it pretty quick. All right. We need to leverage the landscape and have green infrastructure for everyone in New Jersey. These 7 actions we want to share and hope these will help promote green infrastructure throughout the state. First, commit to maintaining New Jersey's existing infrastructure while investing in new gray and green facilities. We have not invested enough in maintaining our existing infrastructure and are now facing the consequences. In many communities, we need to get existing infrastructure operating effectively to clearly understand what the opportunities and needs are for green infrastructure. While maintenance includes repair and replacement, or whether it includes repair and replacement of concrete structures in hundreds of stormwater basins that are 25 to 30 years old, reaching the end of their functional design life, or it includes replacing outdated pumps with new technology that can minimize combined sewer overflows, or if it is simply cleaning sediment and leaves from inlets and pipes, it must be done. We need to invest in and commit to maintaining that existing infrastructure that we have, as well as the new infrastructure we build. Through a coordinated and consistent program of investment in stormwater infrastructure, New Jersey can keep costs down and make green infrastructure a cost-effective component of our future. We need to demonstrate the value of green through consistent statewide policies, plans, regulations, permits, and enforcement. New Jersey must continue to be vigilant and explore innovative ways to better protect our water resources. We need a consistent message woven into and through our policies, regulations, state planning efforts, permits, and enforcement actions that recognizes green infrastructure as a viable component of our state's future water infrastructure network. New Jersey needs to recognize the value of its trees, its landscapes, its natural areas and soils, protecting our waters, our economy, and our communities. While a number of environmental partners, including the Riverkeeper and Baykeeper, continue to elevate our awareness of these issues, we all need to engage in better protecting and preserving our valuable natural resources. We need to develop community-informed green infrastructure plans and programs for each unique municipality in New Jersey. Whether your community has a separate storm sewer system and is struggling to address nuisance flooding, inflow and infiltration, or your community has a combined sewer system with overflows discharging untreated waste into waterways, streets, and parks, and backing up into homes. Every New Jersey community needs to identify what green infrastructure will look like for the individual community. One size does not fit all. Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission has recognized this need. PVSC is partnering with Rutgers Cooperative Extension and leading an initiative to inform the 48 communities it serves about the opportunities for green infrastructure and is providing the resources necessary to develop individual plans for the 48 communities served by PVSC. These communities will be provided with this assistance when they come to the table willing to commit to taking those first steps in implementing green infrastructure projects and programs. We need to make available funding accessible to communities and leverage funds wherever possible. Funding needs to be made accessible for those communities prepared to embrace green infrastructure. While funding may be available to cover costs of new infrastructure, these dollars are not always readily available to communities. Securing public monies can be a heavy lift, and communities looking to take the first step with green infrastructure will need incentives and assistance to move ideas and plans into action. We need this funding to enable local communities to take this action. We need to make green infrastructure an effective part of every taxpayer-funded capital infrastructure project. Green infrastructure needs to be a part of every taxpayer-funded project. What funding we do have dedicated to green infrastructure should be leveraged wherever possible. When we are building publicly funded schools, roads, treatment plants, parks, green needs to be part of the equation and part of the discussion. It's frustrating when you go to a town meeting or a public meeting or a partner meeting and hear about new schools being built in the community with public dollars, and green is not part of that equation. We need to overcome these hurdles and include green infrastructure and innovative infrastructure upgrades into all of our publicly funded projects. We recently partnered with local entities to help leverage limited available grant dollars to successfully install rain gardens in the public right-of-way in Haddonfield, Camden County, and also a pervious asphalt parking lot in the community of Clark in Union County. Base funding for the planned capital improvements was provided by the local municipality, while additional green measures were funded with available grants. Significant cost savings for green infrastructure can be realized when projects are planned and constructed through a cooperative partnership, including both gray and green. In these cases, without this partnership, these two efforts would not have been able to be completed with the available grant dollars. We need to provide incentives for homeowners and businesses to adopt green infrastructure. These incentives need to encourage individual property owners and businesses to adopt green infrastructure strategies. To see impacts and improvements in water resource protection, we need widespread adoption of green infrastructure by more than just government entities. This will require innovative ideas and programs like the New Jersey Water Supply Authority's Rain Garden Rebate Program for homeowners. New Jersey Water Supply Authority recently piloted this program in partnership with Rutgers Cooperative Extension, providing technical assistance to homeowners willing to install rain gardens. Homeowners work with professionals to develop a rain garden design specifically for their home. Once the homeowners complete the installation of the rain garden, they can submit for a rebate to offset costs of that project. Also, ideas like Assembly Bill A4003, introduced this past April, sponsored by Assemblyman Eustace, Wimberly, Gusciora, and Barnes. This bill proposes to establish a capture, control, and conserve reward rebate program for the state to encourage property owners to implement certain techniques to conserve water or control stormwater runoff. Both of these approaches are ways New Jersey can provide incentives for the private sector to invest in green infrastructure practices. Everyone needs to be involved as part of the solution. And finally, as Commissioner Martin indicated, New Jersey needs to identify long-term strategies to provide consistent and reliable funding for construction and maintenance of both gray and future green stormwater infrastructure. To protect our investment in green infrastructure, New Jersey needs to identify long-term funding strategies that will provide consistent and reliable funding to continue development of new infrastructure as well as maintenance of existing. The City of Hoboken has been very active in developing plans for green infrastructure as it looks to address impacts of its combined sewer system on the quality of life of its residents. Through a number of grant-funded efforts, Hoboken has been able to prepare community-informed plans for green infrastructure, designs for demonstration green infrastructure projects, and outline green strategies to be incorporated into its master plan. We see these as the first steps New Jersey can take to help communities across the state move forward with greening our water infrastructure. In closing, we hope that the ideas and some of the examples that we've shared here today help to elevate the discussion and generate innovative strategies to move us forward. Rutgers Cooperative Extension and the New Jersey chapter of the American Society of Landscape Architects appreciates this opportunity to participate in this very important discussion, and we look forward to being part of the solution. Please let us know how we can best use the experience and expertise we bring to the table to help New Jersey. We look forward to hearing all of your ideas today and continuing the dialogue, forging ahead in greening our water infrastructure. And again, I'd like to end where I began. New Jersey needs a community-based approach to designing and building infrastructure that leverages the resources of our landscape and environment. These green systems can provide communities with real savings, strengthen local economies, make communities more resilient, and create healthy, more livable communities while protecting water resources. This is not infrastructure as we have known it. Thank you.
Landscape architects design ways to divert and collect rainwater to prevent damage and replenish the aquifer. An aquifer is a below-ground natural reservoir of water that we use for drinking, cooking, bathing, and irrigation. The animation will demonstrate how rainwater is managed on a university campus plaza. The plaza surfaces are composed of standard materials. Concrete defines the walks and steps, and sod and lawn make up the open space. The building's roof, which also collects and discharges water, is a plain solid surface. Storm sewer and drains are ready to catch and pipe water away from the site and prevent flooding. During heavy rainfall, these materials, like concrete and sod, can only absorb so much water. The excess rainwater on the surface is funneled into the storm sewers. The building's roof diverts most of its water down pipes into storm drains as well. All this excess water, called runoff, can overtax and cause the storm drains to back up. This causes water to collect in ever-expanding pools. Too much runoff due to heavy rains can cause damage and sometimes catastrophic floods. It also results in more polluted, untreated water entering the aquifer. There are more effective means to manage stormwater using sustainable systems and materials that prevent flooding and replenish the aquifer. The first system is a green roof placed on top of a building. The green roof is layered with drainage materials, compost or planting soils, and vegetation. The green roof can absorb some of the rainfall, reducing the amount of water flowing into the storm drains. Another system involves porous pavement. Concrete surfaces are replaced with individual concrete bricks called pavers. Each paver is interlocked with its neighbor and separated by permeable material. The permeable material is composed of small crushed rocks, also called aggregates. Zooming into the cross-section, we see the permeable aggregates between and below the pavers. The aggregate-filled space acts as a sponge, absorbing water downward, diverting a good amount of runoff from the storm drains. The diverted water will eventually make its way into the aquifer below ground. The third system is called bioretention and is also known as a rain garden. A rain garden is a swale or channel that absorbs, holds, and slowly releases excess water. A rain garden section is composed of compacted soils defining the depth, width, and slope of the swale, sand and drainage materials, plant soils, and vegetation native to the region. Rain gardens are not only aesthetically pleasing, they also restore wildlife habitat. Now when it rains, water does not collect into large pools. Instead, our three systems absorb and redirect the excess runoff. The green roof prevents a lot of water from entering the storm system or hitting the ground. The porous concrete pavers absorb some of the rainwater and direct it downward into the aquifer. And the rain garden accumulates the remainder of the rainwater, preventing flooding and damage. As part of its function, the rain garden slowly releases rainwater into the aquifer over a 24-hour period. Just as important, the vegetation acts as a natural water purifier, absorbing pollutants and toxins from the water. Water is in high demand and shortages are common. These three systems are able to capture and treat more water than typical stormwater mechanisms. The systems are effective, easy to implement, and contribute to a more sustainable water management practice.